within a second because of the millisecond.
And so as we're waiting for him to drive down here, he's already shot his grandma, right?
Yes.
Right. Now we're going to see Mr. Limones and Mr. Briseño come out of the funeral home,
Yes.
but Claudia Perez is still back at the funeral home.
Yes.
And that's the young lady that you interviewed.
Yes.
Okay. Now at 11:29:36 is when dispatch puts out to Randy Hill that there's been an accident, and then shots fired. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because Mr. Limones is actually on 911 when he's walking out there.
Yes.
And this is the resident. So real time, he's telling them, shot, being shot, being shot. And then at 36 is when there's the dispatch. Right there, right?
Yes.
Roughly. But then in the same call, he's talking about running towards the school, wearing black, shooting at the school. That's all in the same 911 call, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you guys stop it at 11:30:58 the best you can, please? Pause. Thank you. So by this time, there's been a dispatch to Randy Hill that shots have been fired, but Limones, Mr. Limones has been saying it's towards the school, running towards the school, wearing black, right? I want to make sure we have context right here.
Yes. And there's a simultaneous 911 call from
Angel Marin, correct. And there's another person in the same room. It's very interesting there that they have people just answering phones and dispatching at the same time, right?
Right.
Now, in just 2 minutes, the shooter makes it in the building. In 2 minutes from here, he's in the building. So this is very quickly.
Yes.
Okay. If you can keep playing, please. Pause, please. And this is where we kind of can quibble back and forth with each other, but whether this little curve happened or whether it was straight, you're just doing the best you can to make an estimate of where you think is happening because there's no direct video of this area.
So where he turned to go down until he gets to,
Oh, sure.
from the point where he turns to go down until he gets to this point, it's a point to point. I noted the time when he was roughly in this area, the time when he roughly gets to that area, and so this animation draws out at an average pace.
But there's no way to objectively for sure verify that he was there versus here. I mean, there's no gun shells, there's no footprints, right?
Not through that, but we do have certain features that are observable from this video.
The same video that the jury has seen from the funeral home, right? That angle.
There are a couple of angles, but yes.
It's the same one. And, continue, please, guys. pause, please? Okay, so you're saying that you believe he was standing exactly right there, and Adrian, because of tunnel vision, drove right by him? Based off what you're saying?
That's a strong possibility.
Possibility, fair enough. Continue, please. Pause, please. Now you're aware that where you put the X's, where you say Adrian was, the shooter was, that's where the shells were found, right? They're not found further up. They're found on this, because the reason why the pictures the jury has seen, it's in evidence, we see the grass line versus the pavement, the parking lot. We have the pictures. So that's where the shells were, right?
I made the X large enough to encompass the area where the general area where the cartridge casings were, and any other general area where the origin of those fired cartridge casings could be. The X just denotes that shots were fired in that general location.
Well, but literally the X denotes where the shells were found, and that's what the really X denotes, right?
And possibly where the shots originated from.
Well, we went through this exercise, right? Where shells are, that means the shooter is not where the shells are, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so we talked about this, went back and forth, so we're gonna give some ranges. On the low side, 2 to 4 feet. On the high side, 10 to 15 feet. You say 10, others say 15. So it's anywhere between 4 to 10 to 15 feet to the left is where a shooter would be if there's shell casings right here, right? I'm giving the range.
Can I stand up there?
Sure.
So the fired cartridge casings for this X in particular were located in this area. So I attempted to place the X in the approximate general location to the left and slightly forward of where the origin of the rifle that fired those shots would possibly have been.
But just to be clear, the shells were found here.
They were actually found slightly over to the right.
The jury has the pictures. Okay, and so all I'm saying is if the shells are here, we have the pictures, then somebody who shot those shells typically would be 4 to 10 to 15 feet to the left of it.
I would say between 4 to 10 feet.
But others would say 4 to 15 feet.
Not others.
I understand that. So you say 10, so it could be 10 feet, but it would not be here, the shooter, right? If it was 10 feet.
I'm sorry, say that again?
If it was 10 feet, using your numbers, if it was 10 feet, it would not be here, because this is where the shells were.
May I stand up here?
Yes, sir.
So if you take into account here and you start to draw the feet back, it could be anywhere in this general area.
Okay. Okay. But Adrian drives by, and we have Mr. Limones and Ms. Claudia Perez that say that at some point this shooter was between cars, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then this is where Mr. Gonzalez, where Adrian sees Ms. Flores, and then they're here. And then we've gone through the timelines of what's, I want to make sure that we have that. So there's no indication that the shooter came out here and shot, right?
There was no evidence.
No evidence of that. And because there's these big AC units right here surrounded by a chain link fence.
Yes.
And it's a chain link fence that you can see through.
Depending on where you're standing.
Well, I mean,
Only because of the AC units blocking the vision.
aside from the AC units, the fence is not going to obstruct your view much.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. And so somebody could be standing here, but somebody could perceive them standing further to the left, right? I mean, that perception, stress, all that stuff.
I can't say what somebody could perceive.
But you understand, we talked about human factors, you understand perception distortion?
Perception distortion, can you define that?
We understand time concept, when you consume, condense, thank you. Time condensation, you can condense time, that's something that happens under stress?
It is possible that a person could lose track of time.
And so what perception distortion is you lose track of what perception and what reality is because you perceive it something else. You perceive that it's something else. That's all.
It's possible there could be some slight changes.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. There's auditory exclusion. You did a good job explaining that for the jury. Auditory exclusion, right?
Yes.
Tunnel vision. And so as we go back up here, if you can play it, please. There are a number of rounds shot into the building, correct?
Yes.
If you can pause. And you've placed Adrian outside of his vehicle here at
So-
some point.
He's placed outside the vehicle, however, I cannot verify exactly where he is standing at this point.
I understand. But that's why I was asking you earlier about Ms. Flores, because that 2 to 7 minutes would be important for you to make this assessment about what he was or wasn't doing during this time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Continue, please. And that's Officer Mendoza. Pause, please. And so we have Officer Mendoza, and so this is where it's a little bit past it, but it's okay. So it's 23 seconds roughly. Mendoza's behind Adrian, right? Roughly.
Approximately. Yeah, roughly.
Approximately. And then we have Saucedo, and this is Saucedo with the farm. Now the jury has seen the dashboard, because you've seen Coronado's dashboard, correct?
Yes.
And the dashboard is different than body cam. Dashboard is on your dashboard, and it's a camera, and it shows the front of what's going on in front of your vehicle.
Yes.
But Coronado had a body cam, and so did Mendoza, but we don't have body cam from the corner, from either one of them.
Correct. There is dash camera video from the vehicle that Juan Saucedo was driving. It's not the clearest, but there's dash camera.
Okay. But it's not facing in a direction towards the school. Please.
If you can we
Keep going.
get Saucedo in his stopping position? So this is gonna be generally the orientation that he's facing, and so it's gonna capture a view. But again, the video there was an issue with the recording system, so the clarity is very poor.
Very poor. So, but this is my point. They are 20 some odd seconds behind Adrian, right?
Approximately.
And they're not dealing with a frantic witness or potential victim. He didn't know at first, right?
Correct.
Or suspect. And originally he thought it could have been the suspect. And then there's 3 officers versus 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. Continue, please. Pause, please. All that time, the shooter was shooting up the school,
The exterior, yes.
and they were right there. And at some point in that time, Saucedo asked to shoot that guy. At some point. We don't know when, right?
Correct.
But before he made it into the school, right?
Correct.
So for this 30 some odd seconds, you had individuals here, and we saw the video, that were taking cover and they weren't being shot at. We can criticize that if we want to. But they didn't act to stop the shooter from getting into school.
They didn't take action at that particular moment, but there was a short time period from when they arrived there.
There's a short time period for Adrian too, right?
It's not that short.
So I want to make sure you said a very specific statement there. You said not that short. So you're saying from over here, you think Adrian should have acted over these guys, right? Essentially, just say it.
He had the opportunity.
He had the opportunity to act here over these guys
Before they arrived at the scene.
for those 20 seconds.
It was actually
25 seconds.
so from the time Mr. Gonzalez got on the radio and said shots fired, which is confirmation that he's progressed through any type of auditory exclusion or tunnel vision. He's processing information, or at least he's given some verbal confirmation of that.
Mm-hmm.
So from the point when he gets on the radio and says shots fired until the shooter enters through the west door was approximately 50 seconds.
They're part of that 50 seconds.
They're a part of the latter half of the 50 seconds.
They're part of the 50 seconds.
They are inside.
Did they say shots fired?
I don't recall any of their traffic having that.
Because they didn't do anything. So they didn't say shots fired, but your position is, and we'll move on, that Adrian had a better opportunity than these three men together with a long rifle that had line of sight. He didn't. On the same side as the shooter. You're just saying Adrian had a better opportunity. That's all.
I'm just saying that he had an opportunity and had access to more information.
Play, please. And this shooter's in the building, and they're not going to that door, are they? They saw him go in. They didn't go to the door.
They did not on foot go in that direction.
Did they drive in that direction?
They're driving up Geraldine.
Pause, please. Did they drive in this direction?
They did not drive in that direction.
See, because for these kids, no one gives a crap about this street, right? You understand that, right? Where Hill is over here, see, he's already parked over here, hanging out, standing around. No one cares about this street. You can smile all you want. He's standing around, right?
He is momentarily.
What was funny about what I said right there? Why did you smile? Well, I want to know why you smiled, Judge.
I didn't smile.
Outstanding objection.
I was merely just licking my lips because my mouth is dry.
Okay, get some water, please. You have a lot of water there. So nobody cares about this street.
Sidebar comment, Your Honor.
Sustained. So he didn't drive to this. He didn't drive to this door. did he?
Objection asked and answered, Your Honor.
Sustained.
They drove around. They drove around.
They drove in the direction of where they believed the gunshots were coming from. I believe. I'm not them.
So you seem to want to put yourself in their mind to make
Objection to
excuses
sidebar,
for
Your
them.
Honor.
I'm asking. He can say no. I'm asking him a
I'll
question.
overrule that objection. Ask the question, please.
Okay. Are you making excuses for them? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So they drive this way to where Hill's hanging out, right? And they don't drive there. We're past that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Play, please. Pause. So what time did he start assaulting those children at that door?
I have to look.
It's 11:33:22. Verify, please, because I don't want anybody saying that.
Correct. 11:33:22.
Okay. So he's already been shooting for 13 seconds, and these dudes are just hanging out there and they're driving away, right?
They're relocating in a.
Listen to my question, please. He's been assaulting these precious babies for 13 seconds, and these guys are hanging out and they drive away.
No,
They didn't drive away?
I don't consider that direction away.
The direction, their actions, was that helping these children?
They were moving in the I can't testify to what
Use your
they
common
were
sense.
doing.
Their actions, what they were doing right now, was that helping these children?
I can't answer that question. I can tell you that.
Hold on. Look at this jury. Tell them you can't answer that question. You can't answer that question whether them driving away
After
was
the
helping
answer,
those
Your
children? Answer that question.
Am I allowed to answer this question?
My question you are. I'm asking the question.
May I stand?
Yes, sir, please.
Around this area right here is when Sergeant Coronado gets on the radio, somewhere in this area, and relays the information. I think he made it into the building, guys.
And how does that help? How is their action, not his words, how is his actions helping those children?
If he says, I think they made it into the building,
Uh-huh.
guys, it is possible that
Okay.
when he gets here, he doesn't see the shooter and is letting them know, I don't see them on that side of the building, and he may have made it into the building.
Just for argument's sake, I'm gonna take your where you wanna go with this, okay? I think he made it into the building, but these guys don't run to the building, they drive around it, right?
They moved to another area to set up. I can't tell
Can
you.
you
what
listen,
they were
can you listen to
thinking.
my, you have great hearing, you can determine where gunfire is. Listen to my question.
Objection to sidebar, Your Honor.
Sustained, I'm sorry,
Sustained.
Judge, I'm sorry, Judge. And so, he says, I think he made it into the building. They don't drive to the building, right?
They do not drive
Objection asked and
directly.
answered many times.
Sustained.
So in your opinion, their behavior, their actions are helping these children after they know this guy's in the building. Just yes or no.
I don't know what all
Yes
the
or no?
information.
Yes or no?
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
Just say I don't want to answer the question then. You don't want to answer that.
I do want to answer the
Sustained.
question.
Okay. And so can you please play the video? A lot of shooting going on right now, right?
Yes.
What's Hill doing? Tactically, what's he doing there? Pause,
At this
please.
point, I am not Officer Hill. I did not interview Officer Hill.
Did you review his interview?
I reviewed a portion of his interview.
Okay, what did he say in that portion? What portion did you read? What is he doing in that corner?
He responded to that intersection for a crash. I do not recall the details.
Where's the
of
crash at?
interview.
Where's the crash at?
Where's the crash at, or where
Yes,
was
sir.
it dispatched?
I don't, both. Give me both.
Crash location is here. The dispatch to 715 Old Carrizo Road is gonna put it actually on the front side of the school.
And with that wrong dispatch information, it said shot fired at the school, right? Everyone knew there was shooting at the school.
There were several transmissions.
Okay, so why is Hill standing there?
He wasn't standing there for very long. I can't answer the question because I'm not Officer Randy Hill.
Okay. And so these, can you keep playing? A lot of shooting going on still, right?
Yes.
You still with Melanie?
I can't tell you exactly where he's at this point.
Now, pause please. Now, out of all these officers, how many of them knew how many of them knew that the shooter was in the building?
I don't know.
Well, you knew these three did, right? Or you don't know that either?
I don't know what they heard on the radio.
So you don't know what anybody heard on the radio, you just know what's dispatched?
I know what was dispatched, and if there's not an acknowledgement on the radio by the receiving officer, you can't confirm that they received the information.
Play, please. And while this is playing, you're the one that you created this.
The animation?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And it changes things up knowing that there's 2 to 7 minutes with Melanie Flores here, correct? That's a factor that would have been helpful to have.
Not in creating the animation.
No, I know that, but I mean in your assessment. Okay, pause please. So we have Donald Page showing up, correct?
Yes.
So at some point, you know that Melody, after the 2 to 7 minutes, whichever one it is, and Adrian's with her, she breaks off and she goes to a room here.
Correct.
And she describes Donald Page as Adrian Gonzalez.
I was unaware of that.
Did you look at her interviews?
I looked at the initial interview and then did not look at any subsequent interviews.
Her interviews and her testimony said that Adrian Gonzalez was wearing khaki pants, a short white shirt, and had a full beard. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
But Donald Page goes here, and in your, keep playing please, sir. Adrian leaves cover when he sees Donald Page, and he goes to Donald Page. You know that part, right?
We actually can verify
Pause.
those movements from Sergeant Coronado's body camera.
Well, we've seen the body cam. He's running, it's moving, it's not looking at Donald Page and Adrian in all their contexts. We know that at 11:35:09, Page is driving onto the campus, right? Roughly?
Roughly, yes.
I mean, you can check your timeline. So at 11:35:09, Donald Page is coming in. 11:35:10, Coronado's body cam turns on, and so when Page gets there, Coronado sees Page and Adrian there for they're there for just seconds together, right? Just on the timeline.
I looked at Sergeant Coronado's body camera frame by frame.
I understand.
And you could actually see significant movement from both Donald Page and Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, significant movement towards the school, right?
They were walking.
They're going towards the school, right?
Yes.
And so Paige is driving in seconds before Coronado's camera turns on. Adrian comes out from cover. Melody leaves him. This is all within seconds. He goes to Paige, and then there's significant movement. They're already moving towards the school when Coronado's running up, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And then there's this another round of shooting, and it sounds louder from Coronado's because it's on his body, but shots fired, and he says all that. But when you look at the frame, Paige and Adrian have already darted into the building.
They moved, but they were walking.
Then you didn't look at the same video I did. When he's there, he's before the shots. As soon as those shots go off and Coronado starts yelling, you look at the frame again. Paige and Adrian are in that building. You remember that, right?
I do know that Donald Page was the first, and
By how many seconds?
Gonzalez.
Look at your timeline.
I believe it was approximately a second to 2 seconds.
No, 1 second. Look at your timeline, please.
So the entry time for Mr. Gonzalez was 11:35:48, and the entry time for Mr. Page was 11:35:46.
Okay. But you understand that you know now that when they went there, and I guess someone can ask Paige, that Adrian opened the door for him and then Paige came in. And that happens tactically many times, right?
I couldn't tell who opened the door.
But tactically, when you have two people, that's a smart move. Somebody opens the door, someone comes in, and then the person that opened the door comes in behind them, right? Tactically.
That is a tactical
Okay.
option.
And so if that happened, that makes sense.
Yes,
But they essentially both came in at the same time.
very close.
Okay. And then so by the time Coronado and the chief make it in there, Paige and Adrian are down the hall.
Yes,
Okay. So you agree that they both acted.
at that point, yes.
They're acting, they're in, and they put themselves in danger by running inside of the building.
Yes,
And you can see that the smoke from the firing of the AR-15.
yes,
And you see Adrian's gun out, right? He's
Yes.
side ready. And then there's Paige ahead of him, right?
yes.
And then you don't depict it on here, but there's 2 or 3 officers on this side, Martinez. And who
Correct.
else? And who else on this side?
Sergeant Canales
Canales.
and Lieutenant Martinez were the first two to enter the west door, and then there are other officers that came in very quickly after them.
So you have 4 officers initially, though. The first 4 officers are, well, first Paige and Adrian are the first 2, right?
Correct.
Then Martinez and Canales come in on the west side.
Sergeant Canales, Lieutenant Martinez, and Detective Landry were the next 3 that came in.
Okay, so 5, those 5 officers. These are the initial 5 officers, correct?
Correct.
And we still have Hill up here, Mendoza and Saucedo doing something.
They formed into a smaller unit of
Mhm.
police officers, and can I stand up there?
Please.
And I don't know, I think they came through here, but I'm not exactly sure. They ended up coming through into this side of the school building,
But Hill doesn't make it in until 25 minutes later.
roughly, yes.
So he's out here doing something else, but he's not in this building.
Correct.
And these other 5 officers are in this building.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, one of the officers, Martinez, takes rounds and gets hit, escaped in the head, and another one gets skinned on the ear.
Sergeant Canales, yes.
Canales. So you have 2 officers that are injured from firepower, from shooting from the shooter.
Yes.
And then we see, once that happens, because we see Coronado's, you see that Adrian and Paige, they don't run away.
Correct.
And that hallway, and we're not going to belabor this because these are experts on fatal funnels. I mean, that's a fatal funnel.
Yes.
I mean, there's no cover there at all,
No, there's only concealment.
at best, right? But I'm saying is, but still, Sergeant Paige and Adrian, they don't cower and they don't run away.
Correct.
They stay in the funnel.
They move off to the side into a concealment area.
Right, but not right away.
It was within the first few seconds because shots continued to be fired.
Continued to be fired, but that's normal for someone to do that. But thankfully, apparently, the shooter didn't know there was officers on the left side because anybody could have done this and swung that rifle back around the other way and shot down that hall towards Paige and Adrian, correct?
Now, the shooter's already in to room 111 at this point.
I'm just saying that, but the shooter could have come out and shot and continued to shoot down the hallway. All I'm saying is, it's a dangerous situation for all 5 of those officers.
Yes, it's dangerous, very dangerous.
And all 5 of them are there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And even though shots rang out, and like you said, multiple shots rang out, Adrian remained in that danger.
For a period of time, yes.
Yeah, well, those other officers didn't even subject themselves to that, right? The other ones outside?
Which ones are you referring to?
The same ones we've been talking about, sir. All these. The ones that formed a little huddle over here, they didn't go inside that building.
There were some that did go in, but Randy Hill was in a group that stayed outside on the east side of the 4th Wing building.
Right. And he was the one dispatched initially to that first call, right?
Yes.
Let me say this to you. Good point, Jason. So see, Mr. Limones gave testimony to this jury that there was no way for Adrian to see that shooter based off where the shooter was hiding at one point. You don't know that, but I'm telling you that, okay?
If that was his testimony.
It was. But your animation puts the shooter, I mean, almost at Adrian's door as he's driving by, right? You would agree with that?
I wouldn't say he was almost at his door.
Well, that's what it looks like. Is that fair?
I can't place him exactly, but it's going to be in the general area somewhat close, but I can't
What I'm
say
saying
for
is,
sure.
if this jury didn't have this context of this back and forth, and they only looked at that animation, it could be perceived that the shooter is right at Adrian's door as he's driving by. Could be perceived that way. You can say no.
I don't think it could be perceived that he was right at his door, but it could be perceived, rightfully so, that he was in the general area and fairly close.
Okay. Now, the government asked you a question about what the 3 officers did at the corner, Coronado, Mendoza, and Saucedo, and when they dispersed and they relocated. He said it makes sense that they needed to fan out to find the gunman, and you said yes. Do you remember that question?
From the prosecution?
Yes, sir, on direct examination.
Yes.
Do you understand what he meant by fan out?
Are you talking about Mendoza, Salcedo, and
That's where this
Coronado?
question came from, yes, sir.
I wouldn't say necessarily a fan out, but we don't know at that point if any of those 3 officers, and Sergeant Coronado was in the front, actually saw the shooter enter through the west door.
But we kind of do. That's what I'm saying. So I guess my question was, it makes sense to fan out to find the gunman. You didn't need to find the gunman. They knew exactly where he was.
I don't know that they knew exactly where he was.
They knew he was on the west side of the building.
Objection, Your Honor, this is repetitive.
Sustained.
Now, there was a comparison between Saucedo and Gonzalez, and he gave you different scenarios about what Saucedo knew and was available to him versus Gonzalez, right?
Yes.
And I won't go through it all, but you still take the position that Adrian had a better opportunity and ability over Saucedo, correct?
Objection, repetitive.
That was a specific question he asked at the end of his direct examination, only about Saucedo, Judge.
Okay. Let's see, wrap this up. I'll let you ask that question, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, as much as I would love to finish this witness, and they've still got redirect to go, we're not going to be able to do it because that juror has to leave at 3 o'clock. So next week, clear your schedules because we're going to work from 8:30 to probably 5:30 every day. And if you want to bring your lunch and eat in the jury room, that's perfectly fine with me. All right? Finish up, Mr. Liv.
Yes, sir. So your position is that Saucedo specifically had a better positioning and that Gonzalez, Adrian had a better opportunity and ability than Saucedo.
Initially, right after Adrian Gonzalez parked, and more specifically when he was able to communicate over the radio that shots were fired, he's now to a point where he's processed the information. He is in a position where he can confront the threat outside along the west wall. He's already had the ability to process the shooting and to process the information, as opposed to the other three officers.
But you're making that decision, he's processing that information in 25 seconds before they show up with no line of sight, right? That's your position.
Well, he confirmed it with his radio transmission of
He
shots
confirmed
fired,
hearing shots, right?
which meant he could distinguish shots being fired.
Well, anybody can distinguish a shot being fired, I'm just saying, but that didn't confirm he knew where it was at, right?
Correct.
All right, want to see Mr. Goss huddling over there. I know it's going to be another 2 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and break. Long weekend, very, very important. Be safe. Don't get sick. Don't catch whatever this flu is going around. Don't fall down. No mishaps. And we're gonna. I think I asked the bailiff to ask you: is there any concerns about 8:30? Were y'all able to work that out, or is there anybody that? Let's do it this way. Is there anybody that can't do 8:30? Okay. We'll see you Monday morning at 8:30. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Tuesday morning at 8:30.
All right.